looking at D linemen on my board, I mean, we got some 3 techs, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to go in that direction. So this has to be edge. I think they want to get after the quarterback, and Tank Lawrence has left us now. I think Marshawn Nealon's going to be the new big tank guy, and maybe they're looking for like a pass rushy guy. Some of the pass rush that you have are on 1 year, 1 year deals, and they're not going to be here next year. So maybe they're going to. Mike Green, Donovan Ezeiruaku is probably going to have to be one of those guys. Just looking at how my board's lined up here, it has to be one of those two.
Yeah.
What does it tell you about the defensive line if that is indeed the pick and it looks to be the pick? Why defensive line when you have so many other needs there overall? I mean, I
think it's about the stack here.
They don't care about
it's all about the stack. And
F them needs.
It really, if it's Green, if it's our Boston College kid, they've got this thing stacked the way they want it, and so maybe that's the guy that Will McClay was fighting for. And kudos to him if he's doing it. This kid's got some bend to him. Yeah. When you watch, if this is in fact the Boston College kid, this kid knows how to rush the passer, no question.
Both of these guys, double-digit sack guys. So maybe that's important to them. What up, Trav?
Hello, Wisconsin. With the 44th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Donovan Ezeiruaku, defensive end, Boston College.
There you go.
Nick Harris.
Next guy.
Break down your first round grade, Nick Harris.
Yeah, this is my last standing first round grade. I think this is the most athletic pass rusher in this entire class. He lines up wide, swims and rips through opposing tackles, violent, decisive hands. He comes from a standing pre-snap stance, and I think that will be a natural transition into what the Cowboys at least have done in the past with Micah Parsons. Having a guy like Micah Parsons to help develop Ezeiruaku here at the next level is going to be a perfect fit. Consensus All-American in 2024, 16 and a half sacks, 20 and a half tackles for loss. He's got this massive wingspan that'll help him improve in the run game. He just kind of needs to add some weight to his frame a little bit, and I think he could really maximize what the run game stuff could look like. But this is a guy that I fell in love with very early on. I think there was an episode of The Break we had, Brian, probably back in November, and afterward you asked me, any guys you've been watching yet? And I said, have you seen this Ezeiruaku kid at Boston College? This is a guy that I just love. And the sense that he can play standing up as a standing rusher too. He has some box versatility as well. I think they're going to be able to do a little bit of drop coverage with him out in the flat. He's got the athleticism to be able to do that, and he certainly showed that against running backs coming out of the backfield. This is an awesome pick.
That drop coverage is all good and dandy. This kid knows how to get underneath blocks.
He does,
and he knows how to. And Nick, I like your report on this kid because I think you're absolutely right. The pressure that he immediately puts on offensive tackles, his ability to work down the line of scrimmage to get in on plays, he can make himself really, really small, get low to the ground, get underneath blockers, and then close that gap to the ball or to the quarterback right there. So this guy was the 26th player in my stack. So, again, I think it was a really, really good pick. They're really not thinking much about the needs right now. They're just drafting good football players.
One more thing I want to add before I leave, though. Nick broke him down perfectly, but just one more thing I want to add is he has a full tool belt right now. I think he's ready to line up and get sacks right now. There's not going to be a long waiting period. I've seen him many times in film set guys up just to sack them with that move that they set him up with later on in the game. Fantastic pick right here for the Cowboys.
Back to the Ezeiruaku. By the way, Donovan Ezeiruaku.
Easy.
That is how you say it.
Donovan.
It is easy.
Ezeiruaku.
It is easy to say.
Donovan Ezeiruaku.
Ezeiruaku. That is how you say his last name. Because get used to it. You're going to say it a lot when he's in the backfield quite a bit. ACC Defensive Player of the Year. He won the Ted Hendricks Award, which is given to the nation's top defensive end after the 16 and a half sacks. I mean, this is an overall bendy, impressive edge rusher. Tommy, I know you were talking about him as well.
Yeah, 21st player on my board, and you look at what he's going to have to do for the Cowboys in this position. This is not a guy who you need to come in on day one and get 10 sacks. That's why you've got Micah Parsons. But it is a guy who is very capable of getting to double-digit sacks because of Micah Parsons. I think Nick explained it perfectly when he was talking about the pick earlier. This is a bendy, athletic, twitchy guy who flies in off the edge and has a knack for getting to the backfield. He's the ACC Defensive Player of the Year last year, consensus All-American, 16 and a half sacks. You can never have enough pass rushers. And we heard so much about the Cowboys brass talking yesterday about how, hey, in this division, we feel like we need to bolster the interior of our defensive line because of how good defensive tackles are in the NFC East. Well, the NFC East has got some good offensive tackles as well. So getting as many good edge rushers as you can never have enough good pass rushers, I don't think. So you add them to a room with Micah Parsons, Sam Williams. Now Marshawn Nealon gets more time to develop as more of a run defender. You've got a lot of really, really, really solid options here for you. And you bring back your boy from a couple years ago. Of course, I'm blanking on his name right now. Washington.
Jeremy Mincy.
Fowler.
Dante Fowler. Thank you. That was my
Jeremy Mincy. You were looking at me, and
that
I
was
like,
my 5 hours of
we
sleep
sign?
kicking in here. Sorry about that.
Dude. All right, we've got Zach Wolchuk, Bobby Belt, both from 105.3 The Fan, rejoining us here in studio. Zach, what do you think about the pick?
I love it, and I know Nick was very, very high on him. I think he was higher than on Ezeiruaku than any of us were. And
but I think all 26? Of us had him at 1 or 2 on our board, right?
What do you mean?
Like
his
first round?
Yeah. I mean, I had him at what was it, 37 on my board.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a really good player. This is obviously great value for me. I mean, the production speaks for itself, but I love the fact that he's a tireless worker and the finishing ability with him. There are some other edge rushers in this class that you will see be able to get the pressures. I think Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M, we had that conversation about him this entire time. Donovan Ezeiruaku, if he gets there, he's going to make the play. I mean, he can set the edge. Now, he's a guy that I think he's got multiple ways to beat you in the tool belt, and the lateral agility's really good with him. He's probably just a guy that's going to be a starter for 10-plus years here. I mean, like, he to me, really, really talented, 20.5 tackles for loss, second on the team captain. That's a theme with both these picks, high-character individuals.
Yeah, I thought Green Bay might take a shot at him in the first round at 23. You know, they were talking about edge rushers. I was visiting with the guys up there. They absolutely love this kid, and tip of the cap to, and I think what we saw in the war room was Will McClay and what he can do, and I think he fought very hard for this kid. I think there's some folks in that war room that were maybe interested in bailing out of there, maybe going another direction, and he told them, hey, let's stick right here. We got this. This is our guy, and you could see it. And Jerry and Steven looking at him and saying, okay, and the head coach going with him, defensive coaches going with him. So nice job by Will arguing for his player right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. It's sticking to your board, right? I mean, they went best player available here. Was that
they're
necessarily
sticking to their board?
No.
We're talking about needs. We're talking about running backs. We're talking about wide receivers. They're taking their best players is what they're doing right now.
And that's kind of the thought process that Brian Schottenheimer has brought to the table. He wants good football players. He said it in the pre-draft press conference. Yeah. And as we saw yesterday, they aren't lying in the pre-draft press conference at this point. They're saying what they're meaning. They want good football players. And if it's not necessarily and I think edge rusher was a low need on their board. Was it corner? Was it running back? Was it wide receiver? Mm-hmm. No. They still need those things, but they want to take good football players, and they're taking what the stack looks like, Brian, and they're sticking to their board.
Real quick, so we can. Sorry, Brian.
No, go ahead.
Cut you off before we get to Bobby. Kind of talking about what they're looking for. He's also a 2-year team captain and one of the top character guys in this class. So that's just continuing on from the Tyler Booker theme from last night. That's from Dane Brugler, our buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm going to steal a comp from Lance Zierlein because I heard him say this on a podcast about Ezeiruaku. Very reminiscent of Yannick Ngakoue. Like I think that's a very similar player.
Difficult last names to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've said Yannick Ngakoue enough times over the years that it's kind of
rolls off. It's like Osa Digizu.
Yeah,
it rolls right off your tongue.
Noah Igbenogany.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But I think that
Ezeiruaku.
Yeah, I mean, there are clearly first-round type of traits with him. I think that where some of the limitations are the ones that you typically find for a guy his size, which are, you're trying to dip tackles sometimes, and in the process, you get washed, or, you end up losing contain, or you try to slip to the outside. So I think that he's a guy that this is more where I think he should have gone. I didn't have him as a first-round guy. I think second. This is perfectly good. The only question I have at this point is, you're saying to yourself, we're waiting until the 5th round to touch 2 of corner, running back, receiver.
Yeah,